For those of you that don't know me, I am Mark David. I am one of Wisconsin's, southeastern Wisconsin's mortgage professionals and mortgage advisors. And I have my colleague and counterpart on here as well, Anita Nelson. Anita, if you can introduce.
Hi, Mary and Anthony, Christina, iPhone, getting to know you. It's really nice to meet you guys. I'm happy that you made it on tonight. I'm Mark David's partner at CMG, and we're looking forward to giving you a reasonable representation of what lies ahead to homeownership.
And we do have other people coming in on a couple other sources from our live streams as well here tonight. So, so for those of you that are on the Zoom part of it, we appreciate you being here. And then we also, like I said, have a few others. So what we like to do in regards to our mission to creating more homeowners is we have value added content for the people that we're helping and serving. And so at the end of the day, getting, the opportunity for everyone to learn as much as possible about buying a house is our big mission. So we do things different compared to a lot of other banks and lending outlets from that respect. So for some of those of you that are on here, because I know we have a couple other people that are logging on here. Some are actually real estate agents, some are other professionals that we interact with within our network of accountants and attorneys and title company partners. So we have a very large network of people that we interact with to ultimately help the buying experience. So I think what we're gonna just kind of go through here tonight. Anita, can you see what I have on my screen right now, or?
I do. I see keys to somebody's house.
Oh, look at that. All right. Great. So the tonight, our format here, just to show you. Well, first of all, again, to introduce ourselves, I'm Mark. Cole is also part of our team. He couldn't be on here tonight. And then Anita. All of us, collectively have extensive backgrounds in lending and mortgage advisory services that we specialize in a number of categories. Before we get too far along, what I want to do, I guess I have my next screen here, is for those of you that are in on the Zoom meeting, if you could, we want you to either put in the chat box that you're here, and also please put in the chat box your name and your first and last name, and also your phone number and your home address, because we actually do have prizes for that we're going to be giving out, and we have some stuff just as a token of appreciation for you guys attending, that we get you some additional information that will be value added definitely with what we have here tonight. So if you can put in the chat box, if you aren't able to put in your information in the chat box, if you can text us to 262-383-4454, that also will help us with getting you all the fun giveaways and prizes. So we do appreciate anybody that's here, and we like to pass it along to you all. So with that being said, again, a little bit more about myself. I am a local person here in southeastern Wisconsin, and been a mortgage advisor and mortgage expert for now it's actually over 20 years, helping thousands of people here in our local area. And I think I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of over $500 million of volume of dollars that we've helped people with over the years. So with that being said, really happy to help anybody that we serve, but we serve a variety of people, not just first-time buyers, but also people are moving up into a new home or a different home. And we also help property investors and people that are veterans and all sorts of different categories of individuals that we help here. Anita, if you can just say a quick mention of yourself in regards to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mark. So interesting enough, I've known Mark for the last 20 years. And I've also been lending for 20 years in southeastern Wisconsin. We do specialize in a lot of different properties, multi-family properties, help a lot of different types of people, second homes, vacation homes. So we can lend to every corner of the state. And it's been a fun ride as things change and helping people get into their homes for the first time or the second time or the third time or the sixth time, or helping their children do that. So thanks so much, Mark.
Yeah, and you know, something that we're gonna show everybody that's on here today, you know, that we promised, we have a lot of different value-added content, and we're gonna go through a few different key points that will be super helpful for everyone on here. But in addition to that, we do highly encourage, while we're talking, please put in the chat box any questions that you have, and we will try to make note and mention and answer any of the questions that you might have. On a day-to-day basis, myself and Anita and our team, we field a variety of situations. And so we have a lot of typical questions a lot of people are asking us on a regular basis. So we're going to kind of go through a couple of the recent questions that we've had from different individuals that we're serving currently. And also, I know for many people, the whole idea of home ownership or buying real estate, it can be very scary, you know, and we realize that, and we have a very different down to earth approach in helping guide you through that process. So at the, you know, end of the day, for many people that if you have never owned a home before, taking on this big leap of home ownership is a big deal. You know, it's a lot different than going on Amazon and clicking a button and getting a pair of shoes delivered to your house in hours or a day or 2 days, or now it's hours, I guess is the joke on that. But getting a home loan is a big deal. And that's why we do handle things the way that we do. We work with you one-on-one to show you all of the key components to either show what you're qualified for or what you need to do to qualify for something. That's one of the steps that we encourage people to take. And, you know, so tonight we're just kind of going over an overview. We are going to give you the guidance and the tools. If you're looking to become homeowners and you want to work with us and talk with us further, that's what we would do from here is get you the tools so that way we could help you and figure out, all right, here's exactly what you could qualify for. Or if you have any blemishes or challenges in your situation, we will work through those with you. And that is, again, a huge specialty of ours. We actually, just a side note, partner with many other financial institutions, banks and credit unions around the state that aren't as specialized or don't have as big of a program selection. So they'll connect those individuals with us because we are more specialized in various categories like bankruptcies or not so perfect credit or not having a huge down payment, you know, all kinds of things that nobody wants to talk about. That's the kind of stuff that we actually handle and help you with. So just to kind of go into our usual questions, I don't, Anita, what's a common question like that you can think of, Anita, that usually we're getting on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I think we see a lot of people who just don't know where to begin. So typically they're kind of concerned with the unknown. So a question that we get is about credit challenges. So maybe, what do I do if I have bad credit or I only have a 600 credit score? So we take the time to meet with you about those things. And if there are strategies that we need to put in place to improve those, we've already defined what those are, and we'll help put you on the path for those strategies and improvement of credit score. And really, Mark, what is our minimum credit score that we could work with?
Well, that is totally the question. We get that multiple times a day. The minimum credit score, we really, technically speaking, just also side note, we're a direct lender with one of the nation's largest mortgage banking firms, privately held mortgage banking firms in the country. So with that being said, when it comes to the credit score options, we have abilities to go down into scores in the 500s. And even when we have somebody that doesn't have a credit score that's workable right this moment, that's what we, I mean, we go through and walk you through, all right, here's your current credit report right now. We go over your credit report, by the way, with you in depth, usually either in person when it's not a pandemic, but otherwise on Zoom, and we share our screen and we go through it with that individual to make you aware, like, here's exactly what we have to do. And quick case study story, this is a live client that I was just like literally helping an hour ago. When they met with me about 6 months ago, no, it wasn't even 6 months ago, 4 months ago, her credit score, due to various things she just wasn't aware of with how to manage her credit correctly, her credit scores were in the low 500s. And, so at that point in time, and, clearly I told them, like, yes, we can help you, so they did the things that I prescribed and recommended. Today, when we looked at their new updated credit report, her credit scores had gone up over 100 points from the advice I had given her. So yeah, so really, we'll work with any credit score, I guess, is a good answer to that.
I think a popular question that we get often, Mark, is how much can I afford, right?
Sure.
You hear that probably with everybody that we meet for a pre-approval.
Yep. Before I go to that one, Anita, got a question from Christina in the chat box. Do we charge for those services? And the answer is no, we do not. So we do a free planning session with everybody. And when it comes to the credit suggestions or advice and tips, there's no charge for that. So we will, get you and guide you to the right determination, like, hey, pay this off, or, pay this balance down, and it will ultimately equate to this particular score with that. So yeah, definitely. We have cases with regards to the free help, I guess is the situation. We have some cases where we are, then we put an action plan together. So in regards to, we have some cases where they come to us with a lot of credit challenges, and we will work through it. And in some cases, it might be a 1 year or a 2 year action plan that we're putting together, and we might revisit and update things multiple times while we're getting in the right direction and educating each other on it. And no, we don't charge a penny for that. So, all right, Anita, what was the next question that you had?
No, I apologize. That was a great question. I'm really glad she asked it. Oftentimes I think we hear, what can I afford? How much can I afford? What is my buying power, purchase price? What does that look like?
Sure. That's like, by the way, like the number one thing I think that gets looked at wrong when it comes to what you must know when you're buying a house. When you're buying a house and getting a home loan, the whole and most of the lending, the real estate and lending industry and system is actually, I feel, is designed backwards, right? So how it goes is most people will gravitate to what's the price I can get? What's the price I can get? Most of the system that is designed and functionally operating to like decide whether or not you're approved, behind the scenes, it's a computer system for the most part. And that computer system is set to approve you or deny you based on some parameters that really, when you pick it all apart, are technically controlled by some government entities. Government sponsored entities is what they're called. So these agencies are putting these parameters in place, and many times what the computer is approving you for is actually quite a bit more than most people should probably go up to. So how we have been operating a lot, we operate different. When somebody comes to us, we're first saying, what is your comfort level for your home monthly payment,
Mhm.
not going to the price. And what most people will find is their monthly payment goal and threshold. That's what we want to stick to. And we're very serious about that. So even though the computer system might say, all right, Timmy and Susie, you are approved up to $400,000. But yet if the person is saying, well, I only want a payment of $1,500 and I have minimal money down, those two are not going to equal that $400 home that you're trying to purchase. It also makes a difference what the property taxes and the home insurance are. So there's other variables in there with regards to the payment is super, super huge for sure.
I'm glad you brought up down payment, Mark, because that's a question that we are often asked. Are there any opportunities for people to utilize grants, or how do you get your down payment other than what's in your bank account?
Sure. So we, as our team, we're always looking for whatever solutions we can do to make this make sense for who we're helping. When it comes to down payments, there's all sorts of different resources, and we literally have one of the largest menu of creative resources to tap into when it comes to down payment options. So we do things like 401k withdrawals or 401k loans. We specialize in a lot of those resources that guide people through that. We have people that they get an employer down payment assistance. So there's that. We also are part of and actually control and operate multiple down payment assistant platforms that are our own internal programs that we show you guys as well. Some of our down payment platforms, we have attached with it some incentives. So we have one of our platforms, we actually match some of the money that you put into the down payment assistance platform. Which these kind of things we go through with you on a one-on-one basis. We do partner with a number of different community groups as well for other down payment grant assistance as well. Getting gifts from relatives is huge. And again, we have either some of our down payment platforms and then traditional platforms as well, like getting a gift letter and doing that. So there's a lot of opportunity for that. And we try to get very creative when it comes to the down payment options for people.
So Mark, when people start thinking about buying a house, how do they decide if they should buy versus rent?
Well, if you're looking at the comparisons, so there are situations, and this is going to sound crazy coming from me. There are some cases where home buying is not a good fit, and that's why we work with you one-on-one to make kind of guide you again through that decision. So like as far as buying a house versus renting, and in many cases, though, if you put them side by side, obviously if you're renting a home for 10 years, and let's say it's $1,000 a month that you're paying, 10 years, $1,000 a month, you just spent $120,000. And if you owned that house over 10 years, you would have the home a fraction of the way paid off, plus it may have gone up in value besides. So side by side over that 10-year window of time, because that's a little bit more easy to imagine, like what's happening over 10 years versus 30 is kind of like that's forever. But yeah, so we have lots of different tools and calculators to show you guys like rent versus own type of calculators. And there's property appreciation and special tax incentives for people when they own a home versus rent a house. So that's definitely a big thing that we'll walk you guys through too.
Mark, can you share with us where should you start when you want to buy a house? Do you just pick up the Realtor 411 and start looking on Zillow, or do you start with us, or where would you start?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we see a lot of different people's situations. Sometimes we get phone calls from people on a Sunday afternoon and they're standing in the house that they think is their dream home. And however, they haven't spoken to anybody in our world as far as the banking or lending outlet. And so we don't recommend starting that way. It's a really bad way to start, because a lot of those cases that we have, unfortunately, sometimes, you know, we want to make sure that, again, that payment is fitting for your budget and what you're expecting. So with that being said, people should start with talking with us, because we can guide you through, again, what that payment goal is, what the payment actually looks like, is a big thing too. So yeah, starting with us is huge. We have a very simple approach of how we help you. We gather some basic details ahead of time, which we have a very easy, streamlined process to gather the details. We have a quick form that we text to you. You literally can fill it out in most cases in a matter of a couple of minutes, compared to, there's a lot of other lending outlets out there, banking outlets, where you have to drag paperwork into the bank branch, or it's a 30-minute online application that's so confusing that you can't even get past the second screen or something like that. So we have you do this quick form. From the quick form, we have you upload a couple of necessary documents. We try to keep it very low key and simplified at this point. Pay stubs, your W-2s or tax returns, depending on your sources of income, wherever your down payment money is going to come from. If you need a down payment, we have some programs where you don't need a down payment. Like if you're a veteran, we have special veteran programs that we're a direct VA lender for, where you might not need a down payment. But needless to say, we gather all these details, and then we do encourage that we do a free planning session, which is done in the comfort of your home, using your smartphone or a laptop. We will work with you then one-on-one for a half an hour, 45 minutes, and come up with, here's what you can purchase and here's what to do. So yeah, they should start with us for sure.
Mark, we get often asked about a realtor. Who pays for that? How do you pick them? What does that look like? Do I have to call the person on the sign? What's your advice for that? So
from a real estate agent and their services, I think, especially right now in the market that we're in, is super, super helpful, because there are a lot of people trying to buy homes right now. And the current challenge in our market is that there's not enough homes for the number of people that want to purchase homes. So having that professional who is specialized in searching for homes, guiding you through the process, the contract part of it, it's very important. When you're working with us, if you don't have somebody in mind, we can connect you with some amazing real estate agents around Wisconsin that have proven track records of being fantastic. But we also are open to working with whatever real estate agents. But when it comes to the real estate agent, a common thing, like I think, Anita, what you're thinking here is people assume that, like, oh my gosh, they're not working for free. How I'm scraping together my down payment. How am I going to afford now paying this guy? And then people ask the same question about us, which I'll explain in a second. But the real estate agents traditionally, in most cases, are actually taken care of from a compensation wise from whoever's selling the property, is how it works for the most part in Wisconsin. And many real estate agents are also very well versed in helping you with situations that maybe they're not listed on the market. So maybe you're driving down the street and there's a sign that says for sale by owner. Most real estate agents and real estate professionals like that, they'll help you even through those transactions and still work it out that it might not need to generate any extra expense to you as the home buyer. Just a quick touch base on our side of it. We, as the direct lender, similar kind of thing works out that way for us too. So we work, directly on behalf of some of these government-sponsored agencies or entities, and they have an agreement with our parent company to, compensate us. So when it comes to that, there isn't like this massive chunk of money that goes to our company that the buyer has to pay. There are some closing expenses, just a quick touch on that, which we normally will go in that a lot more detail when we do your free planning session. But the typical expenses that are involved with purchasing real estate, we as a direct lender keep ours very minimal, by the way, so and many times we have different grants and discounts that might actually apply to that to help minimize the expense side of it. But the actual rest of the expenses, involve your usual kind of things, kind of similar like when you buy a car. There's tax and title and got to have insurance on it. So that type of thing. So we will cover that more when we do your free one-on-one planning session for you.
So Mark, what should the next step be if they're interested in finding out how much they can afford and what the credit picture looks like and what they would need for a down payment? What do you suggest they do next?
So the next thing is, for those of you that are on here, you more than likely were connected or referred, maybe a real estate agent referred you to us, or, some people on here on our live stream may have come across us just, on some of our Facebook social media stuff, or maybe your attorney or CPA sent you to us, or your insurance agent. So what we would suggest is however you were connected to us, like, we're appreciative of that. But if you're on here and, I had the phone number up here earlier, you can definitely text us letting us know, like, hey, I want to take that next step. That next step would be, like I said earlier, we would set up a free planning session for you. So the free planning session, we can set it all up through texting, or we'd give you, a very quick phone call to set up the time to do a Zoom meeting with you, or some kind of video chat. So it's as personal as possible. So that would be the next step. Texting or calling us is what we can do to get the ball rolling, which then we gather some initial information with the quick form and spend about 30 minutes, 45 minutes with you.
Mark, do you have any problem meeting clients after 5? They're working, they're saving money for their down payment. What does your schedule usually look like?
So yeah, that's a great question, because people do ask that all the time. We are not traditional bankers in regards to that. So we have expanded hours for, we're here to help you guys out with purchasing your home. We work very much like a real estate agent schedule. So we do meet with clients at 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. During the week, and, and many times on Saturdays, or even in some cases on Sundays. So we're very flexible on that piece for those who we serve. And then once we have you actively like pre-approved and you're out searching for properties, that's another reason why we make ourselves very available, because you might be putting in an offer on a Saturday afternoon and you're like crunching the numbers. You're like, I don't know, is this house going to work or not? We work very closely with your real estate agent to make it that pre-approval letter that we've stamped our approval on, it's looking as solid as possible. So we will match it up to the property you are offering on, and, close to your pricing strategy. And, if you're bidding up against 10 other offers, we'll also, reach out to the other real estate agents that are involved as well. And so we're doing this stuff a lot of times at, last night I was helping put an offer together at 10 p.m. And I'm happy to say that people got their offer accepted. We found out the great news, first thing this morning. If we wouldn't have done that, they probably would have got, overshadowed by the 5 other offers on that property. So, yeah.
Well, I've peppered you with quite a few questions and you've answered them great. Did any of you guys have any questions you'd like to ask in the chat box? While they're taking a minute to type those questions out, Mark, can you give us an idea of what we should be looking at, or what people should be looking at for down payment? I heard, well, I'm going to say this like a buyer, but oftentimes my buyers say, I thought I had to have 20% down.
Sure. Yeah, the down payment piece of it, like I just kind of touched base on a little bit before, is it ranges, you know, depending on the situation. We have resources that, like I said earlier, with assistance programs and other creative ideas that we have. But yeah, the down payment amounts can range from really 0%, you know, but on up. I would say the majority of homeowners right now, which is this is an interesting stat, the majority of the people have a down payment of less than 10%.
I agree.
And you know, and actually, and if we slice that down even further, the amount of people these days in the last few years, even, it's on average 3 to 5% down is usually the down payment for the majority of people. So there's a lot of cases where we meet with individuals where they maybe heard the wrong information, like, or they maybe heard that from their friends, or they read something online. However, you know, there's a lot of misunderstandings out there with a lot of this stuff, and so that is definitely a big one. You know, then when they meet with us and we're like, hey, we're a direct lender, we have a full menu of options, and they find out, like, where they're thinking, oh my gosh, if I have to save up 20%, like I'm gonna be like 60 years old by the time before I'm gonna be able to buy a house. So that's why we're so big on the different creative options and solutions, compared to there are many other lending outlets, just as a side note, that they don't have that big menu of options. You know, they're possibly not a direct lender, or they're choosing not to offer all of the different choices on the menu. And so then they might say, all right, Anita, you need 20% down. You know, that might be that institution's rule. Whereas we have, you know, direct access to the whole entire platform. So, yeah, so yeah, you know, so that definitely, that's a question. Yeah, we hear that a lot. You know, the credit score questions. You know, people think they need perfect credit, and they, you know, again, we work with all sorts of different credit scores. We work with all sorts of different down payments. Whether you're going to live in the property and it's going to be, maybe you're building a portfolio of investment properties. We specialize in that too. We have clients that started with no real estate and now have, you know, hundreds of units and tens of millions of dollars of value in real estate portfolios that we help people on. We're very specialized in helping veterans. So if you are, or people you know are in the military, you know, like, there's different resources that we have direct access to, those kind of things. With that being said, I know we're kind of coming up on our time here. We kind of promised everybody we'd keep this around like 30 to 40 minutes or so. Again, if anyone has any other questions, and maybe you don't want to ask them on here, because we do have a number of people streaming in on this kind of in very casual, I think, you know, session that we put together here tonight. But yeah, you know, we're totally open to, if you want to text us. Again, if you got on later on, by the way, we're asking you all to text us your name and address, and your home address and your phone number. And like I said, you know, set up a free planning session with us. We do have a prize that we're going to be giving away tonight. In order to enter into it, you do need to text us or put your name and information in the chat box. So that will be how we'll randomly select a winner, and then we will call the winner when we pick the winner here, which because this is, again, kind of delayed with some of the streaming that we have going on, the winner will be picked. It should be later tonight. So we will then inform the winner of, we're giving away a $100 Amazon card is one of the prizes, but we actually did round up a couple other prizes. So for those of you also, everybody that texts in to us or put in the chat box, we'll be selecting a couple different winners. So,
and you can drop down in that chat box to go just directly to myself or Mark. You don't have to share it with everyone if you don't want to. That's perfectly fine. Oh, those are always smiling, happy faces.
Yes, so definitely. But yeah, again, appreciate everybody coming on here tonight, and you know, we enjoy helping lots of different people here locally in Wisconsin, and like always, it's a big deal to buy a house, and we like to be sitting there and walking there through the journey with you, and appreciate again everybody for attending. So again, other questions, just shoot us a text and we'll be happy to answer.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you all. Thanks for attending. Thank you.